We're back. Thanks for staying with us and joining the studio now by Mr. Birthday Boy, Riggs Eckelberry. He's the CEO of Origin Clear Incorporated, OCLN. Happy birthday, Riggs.
Thank you, Don. It's a wonderful day to have a birthday.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you on the program because you always bring to us such innovative things that, with your companies over the years. But this thing we talked about the last time you were on, the whole blockchain thing, the water chain deal, true innovation. I understand it was a big development just today. Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, as I told you last week, we retained a very innovative, experienced, blockchain developer called the Coin Lab in London. And they got to work, and in fact, this morning, they reported on the first morning of basically at that point, it was more brainstorming. And I think we have a clip of Tim Marchand's report. Maybe you can run it.
Let's take a look at that right now.
Yeah, we had a good morning session. Basically, this morning session, we're really looking at see how you can use blockchain technology to remove some of the trust element which is lacking and efficiency which is seriously lacking in the whole water chain at the moment. So we're really looking at putting in new technology we're looking at seeing how you can use new technology to automatically monitor filtration of water and get that information into some sort of blockchain scenario where you can motivate all of the actors in this to make it more efficient. I think basically we had a very good session doing that.
Well, that is exciting. So what's the next step now? What has to happen now for this to jump into the stratosphere, as I know you always do?
Okay, so what's happening now is this is a very important step, which is working with the Coin Lab on gelling the vision in a way that really works for the blockchain, because we know what the water industry needs. Right. We need to know what the blockchain world needs, and really getting that down. So we're going to come out of this. They're just completing today, and we'll have a very good, strong way to go forward. The next step, of course, is we'll be getting into funding rounds, and that will be separately discussed. We know there's going to be an open solicitation, but strictly for accredited investors. And that will follow in good time. At this time, I'm not soliciting anything.
Okay, I understand.
I want to make that clear. But obviously, things get funded, and there will be a way for people to participate. And finally, we're going to be showing up at a lot of blockchain conferences. Basically, is getting the buy-in of the real opinion leaders in the industry, because it's all about hot or not. Are you hot or are you not? Well, they know by now what's hot.
Right.
They go, okay, that's good, instantly. And we know the integrities there of this concept. Now we've got to communicate it.
Well, they must be intrigued when they look at your company, because you're dealing with one technology or one business model that's been around forever, water, and doesn't change much, versus another one that has been around just a very short time and changes like every 5 minutes. I mean, that's got to be intriguing to them and to you as CEO of a company.
Yes, and what's developing out of I can tell you right now, coming out of this brainstorming, this architecture, is we're not going to try and convince the water industry to change. We're going to make a fresh play that is unique and transcendent, really, next generation in every way, that will be funded by blockchain economics. And that's going to be the transforming event.
Well, that's really important, because I think when you first came back on the program a few weeks ago, you mentioned that it can take 10 or 12 years for the water industry to react to change. Well, you don't have that time with blockchain, because what can happen in 12 minutes versus 12 years?
Yes, we have the opportunity to really do things instantaneously in relative terms by simply saying, you know what, this can happen, and we can put it together. It's going to be, distributed. It's going to be modular. It's going to be, water recycling. All these are very important things. Day one.
It was really interesting to go back to the core business model of water recycling. But you mentioned there are certain countries that recycle far more water than we do here in the United States.
Yes, and Israel, for example, does 80%.
80%.
80%, whereas the U.S. does 1%. The second country in the world, Spain, does 20%. So now, you're not going to change a culture in less than decades unless you start with something that is itself a working thing that you can control, and you just roll it out.
Well, I know that you're very communicative with your shareholders. I'm just kind of curious, since we made this announcement on the program last week, what has been the general consensus of shareholders you've spoken to?
People are very excited, and people should, of course, subscribe on waterchain.io. Very important to get those updates. And also, I would suggest subscribing on my CEO updates, which is the on originclear.com, because I make updates there as well. And people are just loving it. They're saying, "Oh my God, this is the most wonderful thing," and I think it's it's only going to increase the number of people who are really interested in what we're doing.
So what has to happen next? I kind of asked that a moment ago, but I just really want to clue in on that. After this session you had this morning, what's the next step?
Well, really, it's going to start reflecting in the website, waterchain.io. Okay. That's where you're going to start seeing things fleshed out, because so far it's been just a banner page.
Right.
But there's a lot behind the scenes that's being built, and this is going to start rolling out. So it's very important that people be on that list. Origin
Clear, OCLN is their stock symbol. Exciting to watch what these guys are doing. Riggs, thanks so much, and again, happy birthday.
Thank you, Don.